So I want to go over the Grid Momo tool. I've had it in MT4 for a while. I updated it, set it up in TradingView, and getting it set up for NT8. So anyhow, when we get this signal line to cross, we have a kind of a oversold area and an overbought area, just like most all other oscillator type indicators. This is measuring momentum in kind of a different way than most momentum tools do. You can use this for divergences and such, depending on how you adjust the indicator. When I get crosses up through this lower, you can see it right here. Let me widen this a bit so you can see it a little bit better. You can see this lower dash threshold level. So when I get crosses up through that area, once I have it optimized for the time frame I'm on, that would be an area you could consider taking longs. Now I also use it in conjunction with some ATR grid bands. I like to see this go green. So I like to see this go green as a qualifier. That will verify that. Or I can get in some initial liquidity. If I see this go green, I can just, add to that liquidity or run with what I have. You can see we have some initial upside momentum. Market goes sideways a bit as momentum dies off. Now on this pullback, back to this area price, obviously if I get in this area and I get a push like that, this pivots slightly higher than the other one and it rolls over, I have a couple options. I can move my stop to break even plus after we get this push. And in this rotation lower, I would have been stopped out of the trade and I'm basically waiting for another setup. Now with this green, you can see this line right here, the solid line being green. The cross below the threshold right here, I'm still green. If I take that risk, that would be a trade that would be of not of, the highest probability. I can take the trade, but at any point, a dip below the zero line and cross back up through the zero line, I should just let go of the trade. So basically, that would be a scratch trade. And you can see we did come down, touch that lower threshold, and we've hooked back up. So this could be utilized as an entry back to the long side, leaving that lower threshold level, the dash line, and coming up through the mid band, that solid line. That would be a trend continuation type long, and that one finally got some traction. Anyhow, we crossed right here, the upper threshold. I always pay attention. I like the crosses through the upper threshold after some decent period of time where we've had peaks above the overbought area. So we definitely had that in both these cases. This cross right here was in conjunction with the indicator shifting to the red. So, and we got some initial movement and then it came back up and oscillated a bit. So we got to push outside the bands. So I'm on the 1 minute chart. So I'm not doing like, long-term trading here. These are more like, taking shots at the market for quick scalp type operations. So just some stuff that's coming online. It's now in TradingView. And we have about 6 indicators in TradingView. And you can see this is this time period pretty dead in the market. We start getting into U.S. Session hours. Things start picking up, livening up. Here was a cross in that time window I typically watch, which turned into a very significant short trade. Where is my drawing tool? Way up here now. So anyhow, we get the cross down through the oversold dash line. We finally get confirmation here where we shift from green to red. Short trade, and that ended up working out pretty nice. And we got some downside momentum. So in the end, there's lots of adjustability on the indicator. There's 2 axes of adjustability. And if you use it with the grid bands, the primary part of the grid bands that I like to watch, the bands are fine. They can help me see when I'm getting little excursions away from the mean. I like the midline. I like to pay attention to that. And, basically you can use that as a guide. You can see divergences in price, so you can use it for divergences. Matter of fact, I think there's a divergence earlier. Let me go find that. So here's some instance of divergence. We had the indicator lift. Price pivots were equal or lower, in this case lower, and then we got some lift out of there. Person can pay attention to that, where the indicator is below the signal line, then it's above. Little quick scalping type, trades. Here we had a divergence. Indicator goes higher. Indicator here was basically a double bottom. And then this blue, the Dodger blue, lifting above the signal line. For those of you that are into doing the quick scalps, you can use it for that too. I don't use it that way. I'm not a divergence trader. I just like to watch this main line in the middle. And if I get any sort of lift in the indicator and return back down when this is red, those are good trend continuation trades. Just the opposite for upside. So just showing you a little bit about it. And so anyhow, let's go on. And I want to show some items on the grid step indicator and some look of the market today. There was some really beautiful indicator and price pattern based setups. Let's go take a look at that real quick. Okay, I talk a lot about price stair-stepping higher, stair-stepping lower, higher pivot lows either in price or in an indicator, or stair-stepping lower, lower pivot highs in an indicator. Here was this morning. Here's about 7:30 U.S. Central Time. We had a little bit of news. You can see the news cycle right there, price cycled. All, the later part of the EU session transitioning into U.S. pre-market. Market stair-stepping higher, stair-stepping higher, stair-stepping higher, stair-stepping higher. Walking higher. So that market was in an uptrend. You can see the indicator too. Indicator is making higher pivots, higher pivots, higher pivots, and so on. Now, right here, the indicator made double top, the indicator. Price went a bit higher. We had some reactionary out of the news. But then from this point going forward, the indicator came down and made a lower pivot high. And that was a very nice area, in my opinion, take a shot at the short side if you're looking to sell the market. We had one rotation here I liked a lot. This rotation here and rollover was not something I thought was very intriguing. I did like this secondary, so we had the big sell-off. The market contained the selling. We lifted, we pulled back, we lifted, and we made a lower pivot high right here and rollover. So selling that area, I like that lower pivot high look to things right there. Now that's a price pattern because the indicator here actually went higher that time, but the price was lower. I still like that. And then you got another sequential lower pivot high. In this case, the price was a little bit lower, indicator was about the same, and then we got rollover. So those were good areas, I thought, to take a shot to the short side. If this indicator would have been a double bottom, equal, and then lift, I would have liked that to the long side. This one stretched lower. Price went just a little bit lower, so I didn't like that area to be a buyer. And I'm kind of surprised we're all the way back up here. Looks like institutions are coming in and disallowing selling, trying to clean things up a bit after that second push where things really could have started to deteriorate on the day. So anyhow, I'm always looking at patterns like that in either the indicator or price to look for high probability areas, in conjunction with, of course, level sweeps, levels tests. Okay, let's go look at one other chart. So you can see we had that grind up from the end of day yesterday on the long signal about 1:30-ish in the afternoon U.S. Central Time. It grinded all the way up into the evening session, got into the overnight session. You can see right before the cross, we had a little M pattern in price. Rotation lower, here's the first dot below, You could have had a short signal in here, got one push, lower push, then lift, and market. After that initial pulse of selling was kind of a grinder. It tried to trade lower, but there was containment in here, and we got lift. We did have a long setup after that. So if you were short in this area price and then got long, if you didn't take anything off, you didn't lose anything. You're long, and the market kept trying to cycle higher, but you can see the pivots are getting lower. That's not a good sign when you're long, and the pivot lows are getting lower. So you're in a down channel, and you're up. You're long. Then the other thing to watch is the indicator is making lower peaks if you're long. So these are all the kind of things I'm paying attention to, and I'm saying, okay, this just isn't going anywhere. Especially if you get a nice little double bottom at the end there, get nice lift, and you can't break above those pivots, just get out of that thing. Then we got a short trade. Short trade cycled once, cycled twice, barely got lower than the prior pivot, and then we're back to long sides. There's a lot of there's kind of a low level of participation, except at the edges where the institutionals have been coming in. And then in this case, they were sellers and the market decayed a bit, but then they turned around and were buyers. So this just seems to be a lot of managing a very narrow range price action on the day. So anyhow, that's where we're at on the day so far. Yesterday we had some big swings. Maybe today we're consolidating a bit. This has turned into a junk range. I've been done for a while. So I hit the short, got the initial push, secondary push, and I always pay attention to this. When I see a very prominent pivot made on a big push, and then I see price go below that pivot, I want to see this thing burble down a bit, trade lower, and if they hold it right away and I'm starting to get flip and I'm getting all this containment, I just let go. If I'm, doing scalping stuff. Even sometimes I'm in automated. Start seeing the market going sideways after I'm in the money a little bit and it's not going anywhere, I just blip it out and then reset it to take the next trade. Then if the automation gets me long, I see it going sideways, I see the pivots on the upside lower and lower and I'm long, just get out of there. I want when I get in, I want to see some movement and then I want to see price working away from my entry. I don't want to get in and then see cycling garbage going sideways. Then what am I doing? Just get out of there. So anyhow, yeah, this breakdown right here to get contained right away after we peaked our head below that pivot, institutionals came right back in. It's just like, okay, they're just managing this thing. I'm not going to try to pad anything over and above what I've already made on the day. I'm done. I'm going to go sit on the sidelines, shoot some videos, and do something else. It's kind of one of those days after some initial pushes. And in the end, we were working ourselves lower, but containment came in literally as we pushed just below there. I saw buying come in right away and very linear movement off that area. So right back to this junk range we've been in for quite some time this morning. So there you have it. Some new stuff out, more new stuff getting rolled out. I have some NT8 announcement stuff. I'll do that either super late tonight or early tomorrow. Finally getting some stuff done there. That's just been dragging on with one of my programmers. So anyhow, making progress slowly but surely. And if you have any questions on anything, info@gridalgo.com. But yeah, yesterday had some nice moves. Had the selling, a little bit of lift at one point. You were long, then you were short. Short had a nice move, and then a little bit of long with a decent bounce at end of day. Today, we're getting some containment of the range, and it's kind of stuck. It's not really breaking to the upside as of yet or breaking to the downside. So there you have it. If you have any questions, info@gridalgo.com. Talk to y'all later.